This happened to my buddy Eric. That is perhaps the most influential movie review ever written. Roger Ebert is nothing in the face of closer look media. While this is not the first of its kind, this is a shining example of a type of review that is incredibly clippable. It makes for a great screenshot to pass around to your friends as more of a joke than any piece of critical thinking. And in its wake came a slew of people trying to capture similar magic by typing something funny on a review site like Letterboxd that might encapsulate some type of criticism, but is often just completely devoid of substance. Hi again, guys, and the Unhinged movie or Letterboxd review is what I want to go over some of with you today. I find this phenomenon incredibly intriguing and, unfortunately, effective because they often make me laugh. Some people have credited this sort of thing with ruining the state of movie criticism because everybody's just trying to get a laugh out of the reader instead of being informative. And today we're here to see how true that is. Quick FYI though, there are only 4 days left to get my G-Subs collection, which includes this incredible hoodie design with just like the really nice color blocking and stuff. It's got like the tentacle sleeve going down the one arm, and then there's me looking at you on the back. That back design is a cropped version of the full design available on this double-sided shaker cup. And I'm honestly really proud of how these came out, even if it sounds weird to be proud of something like this. They were by the outstanding artist and friend of mine, Froggy Lock. She absolutely crushed these designs, but they're only available for 4 more days. On December 10th at 2 p.m. EST, 11 a.m. PST, they are gone forever. So if you guys wanted to get your hands on these, they are at the first link in the description. You can get 10% off of them with my code Kwite or just by clicking that link. She's bouncing on it in a manner that's truly a love letter to the genre. I mean, if we're talking in terms of movies, then this is probably something that you would only be able to pirate. But if it's like a love letter to the position in which she's bouncing, it's like, yep, that's a real connoisseur right there. One of the most important things to know going into these is that I haven't seen pretty much all of these movies, or when I did, I was a toddler. It's fun trying to like extrapolate in reverse what the movie's about based on what I'm not being told. We live in a time, no more dating apps. We are standing in the middle of the highway until Florence Pugh runs us over with her car. I assume that somewhere in the movie, Florence Pugh runs over someone with her car. This was like from 2 months ago. Florence Pugh is in it, and I don't know what this is. Now, a kind of sibling or a distant cousin to the Unhinged Letterboxd review about an actual movie is something serious that somebody said about a movie, like really they did mean it, and someone's managed to use the English language to closely tie this to their lives. Looking at my bank account after a night out, the truth is, it doesn't matter. The movie got made. Dude, last night was a quite slop Reddit reading video. I do like the idea of being able to categorize the quality of a timeout you had based on like a different format of video. Yeah, last night was an Oscar nomination. I fell in love with someone who I'm going to be with for the rest of my life and am completely wrong about and will have incredible dramatic irony by the end of it. Last night was a TikTok. I beat my dick, then I went to bed. This might be like the first real non sequitur we're coming in contact with here. A review of a good person. Another important aspect of things like this is knowing that these are probably fake. But like when you're watching a movie, you must suspend your disbelief and allow yourself to become immersed in the world that is being communicated to you. One time someone gave me Zach Braff's phone number, and years later I was bored and called it, but no one answered. Later, he called back and left a very nasty message accusing me of prank calling him for years and making his life hell, and said finally he had my phone number and he was going to report me to the cops. His manager or something called me repeatedly over the next few weeks telling me to stop calling him and that they were going to get the police involved. I was like, I only called him once, you bootlicking moron. I understand being taken aback by the first time you're interacting with Mr. Braff, he is just yelling at you for something you didn't do. But if like someone is spamming him, I don't know if his manager trying to get like the dude doing it off his back and just being wrong is worth calling him a bootlicker yet. Is Zach Braff a bad person? I don't even know who that is. Sometimes I play people Zach's voice message, which is funny because of how upset he sounds. Anyways, fuck you, Zach. This movie looks stupid as hell. Why don't you write a movie about how I dialed your phone number once and you cried about it, you little bitch? I don't know, man. I'm kind of on Zach Braff's side. It sounds like he was going through something real. Let me know what you think of this r/am I the asshole post, and see how this has nothing to do with the movie. It is absolutely just trying to get engagement, and it's kind of working. Like here it is on this video. This next one is about getting hot sauce on your urethra. Quentin Tarantino rated Your Monster 2 stars. I spilled marinara sauce directly onto my penis as the movie started. My fly was open slightly, and it was like bullseye. Direct hit to that open spot, dude. The years of training by putting that DS stylus in there as a kid just got you prepared for this. You subconsciously aimed for that hole without even realizing, man. It also slipped through the little flap into my boxers, and bam, right on the tip. By the end of the film, my urethra crusted over and sealed shut with dried marinara sauce. It felt sort of similar to how when it happens with pre or post cum sometimes. Horrible feeling. Almost crunchy. I'm not joking. You might not believe me, but this is not a lie. Definitely affected my viewing experience, so might revisit it. Dude, if you were in the theater, that's one thing. Like, you you'll just deal with the uncomfortable feeling because you can't pause the movie, right? But if you were at home and you could have paused the movie and you just decided to let the marinara hermetically seal itself in your urethra, that's on you, man. I don't know what to tell you. Alien Romulus from 2024. Guys, I'm starting to feel like the Weyland-Yutani Corporation doesn't have our best interests at heart. I watched Alien Romulus right after I binged like the first two Alien movies a few weeks ago. It was around when Astrobot came out, so it was actually longer. But my friend just kept repeating this review over and over again whenever like the company would do something, a little morally skeevy. I just like that this one's a joke about something that genuinely happens in the movie. Keeping with the Alien theme, a review from Prometheus, one of the Alien films I actually need to watch still. The alien abortion is still my favorite scene in all of feminist film herstory. 4 stars just for that, man. Here's a recent one that plays off some pop culture relevant stuff. A review for the movie Wicked from 2024. That's this year if you didn't know. Her pussy is green! Green with compassion and talent. You see, when somebody describes you as like green around the gills or whatever, they usually mean you're like an amateur or new to something. But that's just not the vibe I'm getting here. I just feel like he couldn't like tie it to any other colors that would make sense in this context. In honor of Robert Englund, I'm going to write a fanfiction. As Robert stood by the door, I felt his presence, and I turned around to see Robert Englund shirtless. I screamed in joy as he unblocked his belt and started whipping me with ferocious intensity. And he turned me over on the bed and got on top of me. I finally felt solace in knowing I am safe in his arms. Stay tuned for the rest. I don't know if this ever got a sequel. Like, most fan fictions that I read go years without getting a chapter update, and sometimes they just appear out of nowhere. So you can't give up hope if you're into this. It's just crazy that they sped run the smut and got all the way to aftercare in this tiny little blurb. I do like the trend of casually relating events in a movie to something of personal note, like a guy like like Eric. Or, in this case, none of this would have happened if Busta Rhymes was there. And I mean, yeah, I'm inclined to agree, man. That dude would have been a game changer in the circumstances they found themselves in. Now we can take it to the Halloween duology, and it got taken down. I want to die. Wait, no, it didn't. Just have to log in. 4.5 stars for this. Let's see. See, this is why I simply don't have sex. Immediately just relating to this heavily, I think I'm gonna enjoy whatever this guy's reasoning is. 1 second, you're just laying down the pipe, and all of a sudden, the big boy come in to try and stab you because he's jealous of you and you're rockin' hog. I don't need that pressure in my life. Porkin' is a young man's game. I got bills to pay. I feel very similar about this, where it's like I have a kind of cognitive dissonance in my brain that probably should get worked out if I want to live a fulfilled life and self-actualize. And most people would say, but like, fuck all that right now, I got a job. I feel weird saying that because my job is being a YouTuber. But everybody universally does have bills to pay, so it sounds less pathetic coming out of my mouth. Now, even though we've had multiple reviews for the same movie more than once, we really haven't learned anything about what's really going on in them or what makes them worthwhile. Just meditations on the wider implication, And on the topic of people feeling like that the written review has kind of been shafted, at least the written user review on sites like this, because it's just all people trying to get gags off, I think I can generally empathize with that. Like, I can see the frustration with people who actually get some value out of that. For me personally, though, I'm not really a review reader, I'm a review listener. I need multiple stimuli going on at once. I like it when Mr. Sunday Movies gives like some actual opinion and then makes a little funny in between actual opinions. It helps keep my interest, and I can do it while I'm folding my laundry. It makes it a little easier. The famed Connor Eats Pants review. For Borderlands, he gave it a 1.5 stars, which is more than I thought he would. About 35 minutes into the film, my son Samuel detonated an explosive device he had strapped to his chest, killing himself instantly. Connor Eats Pants got like skin made out of Teflon. Jesus, dude, just straight Kevlar mesh weave that you can somehow grow acne on. This might be the first time that I've just like very viscerally disagreed with a review that we're seeing, whether a shitpost or real. A review for Passion of the Christ. This guy got his ass beat so bad we're still talking about it 2020 years later. Press F? I just like hate to see it, dude. Like, he took a beating, sure, but like he let that happen. That was like the whole point. Did you read the book? And this is why I say that movie adaptations are often really, really inferior compared to the original. Yeah, he got nailed to the cross, but that was after like carrying it up there himself, and he got back up after 3 days. Who else on the face of the earth in history has ever gotten back up after dying? No one! Okay, here's a review for Snow White that had to come out 100 years after the movie did, because this would not be talked about in this way in 1937. It's kind of hard for this to be a good movie when the whole basis of it is that Snow White is hotter than the Queen, which she just isn't. She looks like the girl that wore Jesus sandals at the front of class and told you to shush when you were just trying to have a good time. And why are you acting like being white as fuck is hot? Like, she's hella pale and her name is Snow White. I don't know, it's kind of racist, and there's nothing hot about looking like a blood-sucking vampire. You're gonna have to take that up with, like, a number of communities, brother. Twilight, Skyrim modders who are really into Serana. Also, she basically turned the dwarves into her slaves, and as someone very close to being dwarf height, I resent that. You know what? On that reasoning alone, the half a star max is something I can respect. Tenet. 3.5 stars. I saw this movie 3 times. Fell asleep the first and got laid the second 2. Overall, pretty good movie. I've never seen Tenet, but from what I understand, it's very timey-wimey bullshit. You'd basically have watched the events in the movie 3 times from different perspectives by the time it's done. I don't know. People who like it don't think it makes sense. The wording of the second 2 is messing me up. Like, what was the first 2? There's only 3, but The Luck of the Irish, 2001, gets half a star, man. That's rough. Watched 1/3 of this while waiting for my dog to shit at the vet's office. Headed home to watch a good movie, and in parentheses, beat off. Hey man, it's a free country. A review of the movie Fear from 1996. This is a review from almost 20 years after the film's debut. I wish to one day also get fingered on a roller coaster, but I want to be listening to death grips when it happens. Genuine sensory nightmare, man. Like, I respect that everybody has their own wants and needs and dreams in life, but this is not one of mine, which, not super controversial. A review for License to Wed from 2007. 10 years later, Caleb said, a compelling argument for God's hatred of humanity. So what I'm getting from this review is that the movie is inherently deist in nature, which if you don't know, is the belief that God did start this sequence of events that created the world, but after he made it, he just went hands off. He's like, it's not my problem anymore. One thing I've never really clarified with deism, because I've only done like surface level looking, is his apathy towards Earth and not doing anything with it through hatred, where he doesn't want to even see us? Or is he truly indifferent? Like, the hatred might imply that he would want to do things to us, and I'm not sure if that's a different system of belief. I feel like the goal of a found footage film is to make the audience believe what they are seeing is real. This is not real. I love how you can, like, just twist the English language if you just are super uncharitable about the wording of this. You can take the second sentence of this as being completely separate from the first thing he was setting up. A found footage film is to mainly make the audience think it's real. Unrelated, this is not real. Because it's not. That doesn't answer the question of, did it make itself feel real? I just like being as uncooperative with the dialogue as possible, so I can interpret this into whatever meaning I want it to in my brain to satisfy my worldview, and that's how it should be done. On top of that, though, we have someone who probably holds similar criticisms of something not feeling real. Wizards of Waverly Place, the movie. It's a great story, but it's just not believable. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is the most helpful review we have read so far because it's entirely accurate. Horror movie about how if you don't transition, your lips will eventually become so chapped. The way that my astigmatism makes the logo look, it says, I saw the virgin. I don't know how it gets that bad, but no, the movie is literally just about that. It's great. Highly recommend I Saw the TV Glow if you haven't seen it, especially if you're trans, you're gonna bawl your fucking eyes out. And I also recommend that if you want to get my G-Subs collection, you go to the first link in the description and pick these up before they're gone forever after the next 4 days. Limited time, baby! Anyways, this has been Kwite, and I'll see y'all next time.